Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm here live at the Newark Senior Center with Representative Mike Ramone and Senator Dave Sokola. We want to thank DelDOT for putting on this presentation because there is currently on the schedule 8 projects that are going to be happening this summer. And we want to make sure you all have the information so you can get around all those projects the best you can. I'm going to turn it over now to Representative Mike Ramone so he can say hi to everyone, and then we'll turn it over to Senator Sokola.
Thank you. Thank you for those of you who are on live now, and for those of you who will probably be joining either the senators or myself or Ed or Representative Romer's Facebook pages and or email blasts, and you'll be able to participate in this. The major thing we were trying to do with this effort is to engage as many people as we possibly can to be aware of what's happening, and it's going to be going on for quite a while through the summer. So we've been blessed that DelDOT has been giving us information, one project after another, and then we had a summary of the 8 projects. The 3 of us and a couple others had requested if we could do this in a town hall format to be able to have something that we had captured that we could then roll out so everybody can be aware of these 8 projects, because sometimes I know we've had problems in the past, Dave and I in particular on our side, because you can't get from here to there because the roads all going in that way would block it off. This will be timelines, what's going on, when it's going on, and why it's going on the way it is. So Senator Sokola?
Yeah, thank you, and thank DelDOT for putting this on. In recent years, we've had an awful lot of work done in Newark. We had Main Street, we had South Main Street, we had Delaware Avenue, we had East Cleveland Avenue, and some of them all at the same time. And the reason is because all of these things really did need to be done. This is going to be a bit overwhelming, but we're going to be trying to keep an open dialogue with as many people as possible. We're going to try to get questions answered as quickly as possible. And I just want to thank everybody for taking your time to be here with us tonight.
And we're throwing off to who? Who's taking over now? Okay, so DelDOT is going to jump on now. Hopefully they give their presentation. I think it's going to be about 30 minutes. And then afterwards, Ed or myself or Senator Sokola or even Representative Romer would be more than happy if anybody had any questions of us as legislators. And I also believe some of the DelDOT people will be available if you have any questions of them, of the project and the timeline and so forth. So thank you, DelDOT. Megan, are you next or whoever?
I think it's myself, Jim Osborne.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, just wanted to welcome everyone. Appreciate taking the time and appreciate the representatives and senators for allowing us to kind of speak this evening. Definitely for DelDOT, there's a lot of items going on. And just for the community taking part of it, those that are able to take part of it. We want to take questions at the end so we can get through the information. We have a couple speakers that are going to help present the meeting that would help facilitate this aspect of it. And from ourselves, DelDOT, we got Mark Bucklew, Jerry Naginski. I think in the room you have Mark Lutz. We also have the city of Newark, Ethan, and Jonathan from the Delaware Power to be able to help us present too. So we'll be transitioning each one as we go through in that perspective. It's also a very busy time of year. So the purpose of this particular meeting, sorry, trying to get to the next screen. Purpose of the meeting is to kind of go over the 8 projects that were mentioned before. These are the projects in the Newark area specifically, and there are other projects throughout that will also kind of touch base at the end, such as the 896-95 project. The anticipated detours, the potential impacts it's going to have, and overlaps that they are going to have. So wanted to emphasize the point that we were trying to facilitate this, or we're as a community, it's a lot of impact in a short period of time, and it's also trying to implement the improvements prior to school starting. University of Delaware has a large impact, large influx of students, and they definitely want to help facilitate not only that, but the regular school traffic as well. So there is going to be some impact that we want to try to facilitate that as now versus delaying it later on. Each project will get a summary, brief summary, just trying to lay out again what conflicts, what overlays, what potential the improvements are going to be, as you can see from the list, and there should be a board present at the on site that would help facilitate all this information. As you see from the bottom of the screen, 89695 is not part of the 8 projects, but it's definitely impactful for the remainder 700 plus days that it has on the contract. And the grayed out area that you can see is the area that would be mostly impacted by potential overlaps, overlays, and detours. So kind of one more is timeline, just for the group benefit. It's a lot of information, a lot of projects, but trying to lay out where they're going to be. You see through their staging, the East Park Place Paving Rehab is continuing into August. The 896 College Avenue drainage is currently ongoing, and it's due to come in the next 2 weeks. There's another piece of that may come along, as well as some paving, some intersection improvements. The SR2 Red Mill is a big project that's going to continue until summer of 24. And then some utility works that have to be implemented and brought up to be able to facilitate can maintain the heat in the area and process that path. But so kind of jumping into the first project, I'm going to transfer the mic over to Ethan with the City of Newark to discuss East Park Place.
Sure, thank you. Ethan Robinson, Deputy Director of Public Works with the City of Newark. Tonight, I'm just going to briefly touch on the East Park Place Pave and Rehab project. It is part of our annual street improvement program. The project extents go from South Chapel Street to Manual Street. The majority of the project it consists of curb replacements, ADA improvements, some minor drainage improvements, and then finally a mill and overlay of the full project extents. This is just one of many segments of road that we are rehabbing as part of our annual street contract. The other ones are a little less impactful. There is going to be a lane shift, or there is currently a lane shift to get all the curb work done. That's our first phase of the project. So we have the curb work, all the flat work, the concrete, and some drainage improvements going on as we speak. They started on June 12th, and they'll continue to about July 10th. At which point we're going to put a pause on that project and allow Delmarva Power to come in to make some infrastructure improvements at the intersection of Academy Street and East Park Place. Trying to get both those projects done at the same time just really wouldn't blend well. So we're going to have Delmarva come in. Their work is anticipated to take about 4 or 5 days from the initial install to final restoration. At which point we'll remobilize our contractor to come back out to do our final mill and overlay and restriping of the road, which should put us somewhere around August 18th for completion. You can see the duration of the project is slated for 70 days. I know we'll do better than that. Just don't know how much better than that. But anticipated completion August 18th. And the detour, there is a single detour associated with the project, and it'll only happen during mill and paving operations. And that detour is going to detour southbound South Chapel onto Courtney Street, west onto Academy, and then down to East Park, and vice versa. East Park Place will be detoured onto Academy, east onto Courtney, and then north onto South Chapel Street. That is essentially the extent of the East Park Place project.
Okay. Thank you. Next project is a M&O project. We didn't have a representative for that particular part, but Jerry Nukinski is going to help us with that, with traffic safety section. He's very informed on that behalf, so I'll transfer the information over to him.
All right, thank you, Jim. My name is Jerry Nukinski. I'm DelDOT's Chief Safety Officer. As most of you are aware, on the 19th of this month, we closed southbound South College Avenue at Delaware Ave to do some drainage improvements through there. We had a pipe that was failing and then started causing the road to fail. So we started work on the 19th to close southbound. We estimated about 3 weeks to complete the work. It's taking place right around where the Smith Hall pedestrian overpass is. Those that remember when the University of Delaware was in there a couple of years ago doing the steam line work, it's in the same vicinity. Detour route is basically sending everybody down Delaware to Chapel, back to East Park, or to East Park, back to South College. We haven't seen any real issues with traffic. We've been monitoring signal timings. And obviously the trucks, we want the trucks going down that same detour route. So they have a separate time or a separate detour route for trucks, which sends them Delaware Ave to Library Ave to Route 4 back to South College. So good news, as of 4 o'clock today, it appears the road will be reopened by Monday at 5 p.m. We're about a week ahead of schedule. If weather holds out, it may be a day or two sooner than that. So that's good news on that front. Once we get this done, there's another project that's under scope right around Hull and Hall in the northbound direction. Those that ride this road like I do frequently see the road starting to fail, a little bit of material coming through the hot mix. So once we get southbound open, we'll have to go out, video inspect the pipe through there to find out exactly where the break is. And then we'll be coming out and coming up with a remedy to fix that pipe, whether it's under lane closures or a potential northbound detour. But that's yet to be determined. It'll happen probably later in July, early August. That's all I have, Jim.
I appreciate it very much, sir. Next is Mark Bucklew. He's our construction chief. And he can talk more about the next few projects.
Thank you, Oz. I appreciate everyone for jumping on this. Unfortunately, I get to talk about probably the biggest disruption to traffic in this PowerPoint. This is the intersection of Main Street and see 273 and Library Avenue right there at the beginning of Main Street. This project, I've touched this intersection probably 3 times in my career. It's just not holding up. The hot mix really pushes a lot with a lot of moving traffic, turning traffic, hard braking traffic. So we're gonna have to reconstruct this intersection from the beginning of Main Street back to about the firehouse there. This is gonna be full depth reconstruction. We're gonna replace with concrete pavement. That should give us a much longer life cycle so we want to go back in there and mill and pave it in the near future at all. Hopefully not until your kids are driving. But this is a full reconstruct, so we anticipate this work is going to take about 30 days. Now, this isn't a full closure for 30 days. We anticipate starting on July 7th, doing phase 1. We're going to reconstruct call it the eastbound direction. Starting on July 7th and hopefully finishing that piece up by July 17th. Then we'll move into phase 2, which will start July 17th and go to approximately July 24th. Our plan is to finish everything by July 24th. So you can call us a 10, 11 day closure and detour. I know it's going to be difficult for folks, but it's really the only way to reconstruct this section of roadway that's really been left really unaddressed for a while, and we recognize that we need to fix this. This is the busiest intersection in Newark. We know we need to address this intersection, and we understand the discomfort this is going to cause. That's why we're kind of fast tracking the contractor to get in and get out. So I could talk to some of the detours and what this is going to mean. So when we close this intersection, if you're heading northbound on 72, we're going to direct you to make a right on Wyoming, a left on Merrows, a right on 273, follow that around to Ruth R. Drive, then make a left on Redmond Road. That's going to be the detour from northbound 72. The southbound 72 detour, we're going to direct you to use that right curve right there in front of the McDonald's, where we'll direct you to to westbound Main Street. Then you'll make a left on the South Chapel, then a left onto Wyoming, and then a right back onto 72. Again, this is going to be the detour is going to be in place from July 7th through July 24th. Our plan is to finish by the 24th. Unfortunately, there's no real great way to do this job except to close it. We wanted to do it when school is out of session, when UOD is out of session, so we disrupt as few folks as possible. Of course, the next project is going to lead into is Red Mill Road, the intersection of Kirkwood Highway and Red Mill Road. Now, this intersection has needed updating for a very long time. I use this road quite a bit, and this is a tight intersection. It's not great for pedestrians, and we really need to improve this intersection to improve the safety of pedestrians and the safety for vehicles in this intersection. So this job started about a month ago. The phasing's very difficult just because the amount of traffic that uses this intersection. Right now, you're seeing some right lane closures on northbound Red Mill onto Kirkwood Highway, and some right lane closures on Kirkwood Highway onto Polly Drummond there. So those are, but we're trying to get those right turn lanes back open in the evening, because we recognize the evening rush hour is very busy. So we try to keep those right turn lanes reopened. That job's going to run till about next summer. And there'll be some lane closures on Kirkwood Highway, which we can update you, but that's not till a little further down the road. We also recognize that Red Mill Road is a detour route for Main Street. So it's going to be very important. We recognize that it was very important that we keep the right turn lane open from Red Mill to Kirkwood Highway during the PM rush. I've seen traffic back up all the way to the railroad tracks, almost to the intersection of Ruth R Drive at times without any work going on. So there's a lot of traffic that uses Red Mill, which is one of the reasons why we need to improve this intersection as a whole. Once we are done the Main Street intersection work, and that intersection is reopened, we have about a 3-week detour of southbound Red Mill Road. That's just from Kirkwood Highway to go southbound on Red Mill. We have to close that piece for about 3 weeks. There's a gas line that needs to be relocated anytime you widen out an intersection, utilities get impacted. So there's a gas line that needs to be direct buried underneath Kirkwood Highway. And so in order to relocate that gas line, we need to close down that corner, just the southbound lanes. Northbound will remain open. While the gas company is in there, putting that bore in, we're also going to try and get some other construction activities completed, some of the curb work and sidewalk work, again, because those corners are very, very tight, and it's hard to maintain traffic while building what has to be built through there. So we're going to try and knock out as much work as possible in those 3 weeks to help safeten it up for the public when we move forward with the project. And that's all I have right now for my stuff.
So, thank you, Mark. Next is Jonathan with Delmarva Power to go over a few of the utility activities.
All right, thank you, Jim. Hi, everybody. I'm a section engineer at Delmarva Power Gas. I'm joined with one of my colleagues, Nadira Alston, who's our external affairs manager, so she is also on the call. So our projects, as Mark and Ethan and Jerry have already spoken to, we're doing our best to kind of get in here and take care of some problematic pieces of gas pipe infrastructure while all this other work is going on. So the first one you see here is the work we need to do at Red Mill Road. We have a section of particularly problematic steel gas main in that corridor right at the intersection with Darwin Drive. So we are scheduling that work in August to be completed at the same time that DelDOT already has southbound Red Mill Road closed. So there'll be no additional impact due to our work. Good for that slide, Jim. Our next project is, as Ethan mentioned, there at the intersection of Academy Street and Park Place. So we have a section of new pipe that we need to install across Academy Street from the east side to the west side to boost pressures in our system due to the recent development, numerous developments of the University of Delaware campus over the past several years. So that's slated to start approximately July 17th. Of course, that is going to be contingent upon the completion, of course, of DelDOT's work on South College Avenue. And as Ethan had already mentioned, he's coordinating his paving work on Park Place with our work as well, so that we're not overlapping each other with that. That's it for that slide, Jim. And then the final project is Delaware Avenue. There's a larger section of particularly problematic steel gas main from the 60s that's there from Academy Street to Chapel Street that's been repaired a number of times over the past couple of decades and is now filtering up to be one of the most problematic pieces of pipe. And so we are currently, this one does not have a definitive start because we're waiting to get proposals back from our COCs to tell us what they can do. We're pushing for a duration of 4 to 5 weeks. There in the right-hand lane of East Delaware Avenue would be closed, and it would happen in 4 separate sections. It's not listed there, but basically we need to close the Academy Street and Delaware Avenue intersection to get across the intersection. So there'll be a temporary detour for that. Then they'll be working from Academy Street to Chapel Street, the right-hand lane of Delaware Avenue closed, and then they'll be crossing the intersection of Haynes Street and Delaware Avenue, and then the last section would be from Haynes Street to Chapel Street. And we're going to be doing this in partnership with DelDOT, so that their contractor will be coming right back behind to rebuild the road base and road mill and repave that as soon as we finish getting our new gas main in there. That's it for the Delmarva projects.
Thank you, Jonathan. So the last of the 8, I'll let Jerry speak on it. It's the least impactful, but go ahead.
All right, thanks, Jim. So DelDOT's roadside beautification crew has a section they look for hazardous trees that are someone leaning into the roadway or be clipped by a vehicle. So Thompson Station, Hopkins Road between 896 and Thompson Station, there's several trees that they're looking to take out, several large trees. And we all know the area of Hopkins Road is not a very wide road, so in order for them to safely put a crane up to start dropping the trees and taking the debris and all the way, they will have to close Hopkins Road between 896 and Thompson Station. We're basically going to send people north on Thompson Station up to Chambers Rock and back out to 896 and back down to try to avoid all the other work taking place in Newark. They plan on closing it daily, basically from 9 A to 3 P, and then opened up after that. They're thinking about 2 to 3 days, let's just say a week, to do all the work pending any weather. In discussions with them last week, they're looking to put this out to bid in about 3 weeks. After they get the bids back, it's a 10-day notification process. So we're probably talking beginning, middle of August before this goes. But it's, as Jim says, the least impacted for the city of Newark. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. And one last time, Mr. Buckaloo, most impactful of the areas.
So yes, thank you, Oz. So we have, of course, as you're aware, we have a lot of projects going on in the city of Newark area. We work very hard. We talk, Jerry and I talk once a week, at least once a week, to talk about all the projects going on, the detours, any closures, to try and make sure that there's no overlaps. We're not perfect, but our staff works very hard to try and communicate all of the projects we have going on, to try and minimize impacts to the public, and your travels to work and to get kids to school and after school activities. So some of our other projects, we have 95 and 896. Of course, we have our nightly lane closures on 95, 896, and 72. Of course, we have the contraflow on 72, which has not been pleasant, but I tell you, we've done a lot of work with our signal timing. Folks have heeded our concerns about a lot of traffic, and things have died down quite a bit. I know there's still some delays on 72, but they're certainly not as bad as were day one, because fortunately we started getting the word out and people started understanding. We made some adjustments to signal timing, so I appreciate everyone's patience through there. Of course, we still have some nightly closures on the 896, 95 ramps. Representative Romer, I appreciate your kind words. The project is moving fast. It is. We bid this project out with that intent that they knock this job out fast, because we don't want to mess with the public's commute to and from work. We recognize you value your time, we value your time. So we wanted to get in this project and get out as quickly as possible, but the upgrades are necessary, and this is going to be a beautiful project. when it's done. I posted in the chat, anyone who's interested in what's going on 896 and 95 and wants to see what it looks like when it's done. If you want to get updates what's going on in the project, lane closures, detours, go to 95896improvements.com. That's 95896improvements.com. I put it right there in the chat. Unfortunately, I couldn't put www.95896 because a bunch of IT gibberish came up and it didn't make sense. So 95896 improvements works. So just go to that one, and you can also sign up for emails and text alerts. You'll have all the update information when we're closing ramps, when we're closing lanes on 95. We'll also tell you when the ramps are reopened in the morning. If you want that information, we will send it right to your phone. We won't bombard you with spam either. This is a spamless text message that we sent out, but it is important information. We still have our Pave and Rehab project ongoing on Old Baltimore Pike. Fortunately, we were able to get in front of 896 and 95 to get away from the impacts of the traffic impacts from that project. We're moving a lot further north around 273 there. We still have our 72 Pave and Rehab project, which is going to be finishing up here towards the end of summer. Again, a lot of that work was done in advance to try and get away from any impacts to 896 and 95. Of course, we have the last one I want to talk about is the old Cooches Bridge roadway improvements. This is what we could call a level 2. There's some private work going on. A new business is coming in. We always applaud new businesses coming in. They need to widen Old Cooches Bridge Road. So they need to close that through the end of summer, not the end of summer, to the end of August. That'll be closed just to widen that to do the infrastructure upgrades to permit that new project going on at Old Cooches Bridge Road. And with that, that's all I have for tonight. Kick back over to Oz.
I get the easy one. I get to close it out. And I definitely appreciate everyone's attention. Definitely appreciate everyone's assistance. A lot of good presenters in here. A lot of good information. Myself with traffic safety appreciates all the information that's provided in coordination with Jerry and construction with Mark Buckley's section. And some contacts here for any questions, phone numbers, emails, QR codes. I think Megan is recording this and it will be posted for others to visual. I see that we have the information in the chat, and I again wanted to thank everyone. There's project information throughout. I don't know if there's any general questions that we can help assist with, or if there's some questions in the room, and then it can be brought to others' attentions later on, and we can definitely help assist in that sense. Okay. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
This is random, but somebody asked me, all the trees that went down around 896, where did they go?
Through the chipper.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, they were recycled. If that makes a difference. Yes, they were chipped in for recycling mulch.
Perfect. I will let them know.
Yeah. Is there any other questions? CR, I don't know if you have anybody there at the senior center. By the way, like CR is trying to figure some things out there. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll get back to you as soon as we get you a real answer. So don't hesitate to ask us.
You know what's in the chat?
Let's see. Oh, those were just
Oh.
the website. I'll turn it over here to the legislators if they have any closing comments.
I don't see anybody here having any questions, so I just want to thank everybody for logging in or attending. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to the contacts that are provided on your screen. And of course, you can always reach out to us. That's all I have. I'm Representative Ed Osinski, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
I'm Representative Mike Ramone. I have that Pike Creek area all the way up to Possum Park Road. And all I want to say is it's very simple. Information helps. The more people that are communicated to about what's going on, the more it's going to help all of us be able to get through the moment. So just please, if you could pass this on to someone else, talk to people. If you see them somewhere, if somebody's coming to your home and it's somewhere they're going to drive to that area, just give them a heads up. Because, you know, we're trying to let you all know so you can help us not have a lot of people frustrated who did not know. So thank you for tuning in. This is short, quick, sweet. Maybe you could share it with some friends in your email network or even some of your communities. So Senator Scola.
Yeah, Dave Sokola, State Senator. Something that's unanticipated will happen. And chances are you will have lost your contact list. So don't hesitate to call us and we will make sure you get the answer if something comes up. But thank you very much for being here and please be aware there's going to be some obstructions going.
Thank you.
And I actually do have a question before we go. So I'm on the 896, 95 and permits page, and there's a way to sign up for alerts. But then you also said there's other ways you can get road closures. This is the website just for the 896, 95 alerts? Was there another place people should go if they want to get just more in general alerts?
So the 95, 896 improvements page, that gives you the real-time alerts for that project. We don't necessarily do real-time alerts for any of the other projects because it's hard to pinpoint that information, like who would want what information.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yeah,
and if
I do. Okay, so I can point them though to the 95, 896 one.
Yes, please. And also you asked about trees. We do tree mitigation as well. So the amount of trees we dropped, we will replace trees in another place.
Good to know. And also I will suggest to people, if you're following your navigation app, listen to it. A lot of times you're like, oh, I know a better way to get there. And then you're like, oh, there's a lane closure. So usually those apps do know where to direct you. So, you know, definitely listen to that.
There's one thing I think we've been remiss on, the three of us in particular. We wanted to make sure we thank those from Newark, from Delmarva Power, and from DelDOT for taking your time to do one more measure to help us reach out to everyone through a town hall mechanism and a virtual mechanism to help us make sure everyone knows what's going on. So we want to thank all you guys for spending your evening sharing this information, and we'll do our best to make sure we share with as many people as possible. So thank you, and I guess good night, right, gentlemen?